Okay, welcome to Bitrix Live. I'm Damien Edwards, Commercial Manager of Bitrix Partners Interface. We're based in the UK. We have offices in New York and Dubai. And with me I've got Andy Naylor, our Support Manager.
Hi guys. If you want to put your questions in the box on YouTube at any point during this hour, we can answer them and show you on the screen here. And we can also send you can also send an email to live@intraface.com, and you can also tweet us at Intraface.
Okay, got an email with a question here. How can I make another user admin on the system? I have a professional package. Also, does your platform allow possibility to import data from Excel spreadsheets? So, how to make a person an administrator on the system. They're on a professional package. Can you show us that?
Yes, if you're on a professional package, you just need to jump to company, and then if you jump to the employee section, and then next to the user, if you click on the particular user that you want to make an admin, if you click on the cog and then click on edit, then you can see here that we can make the user an administrator.
Okay, and you can, I believe, make as many users as you like, provided you have a license to cover it. You know, many users you'd like as admins. I don't think there's a limit on that. Generally, just managers or technical people or administrators. Allows you to on the cloud accounts, allows you to go into an admin mode. So we can go into this admin mode here, and that allows you to see things that you don't normally have access to, that you're not normally invited into. So yeah, you can allow as many users onto that. Second part of the question was, does your platform allow the possibility to import data from Excel spreadsheets? So I think this is related to sales. So you certainly can. I mean, I think it's related to sales. It doesn't say so, but I mean, if we were talking about importing data into tasks, then so a quick look. I don't think you can import into tasks. Okay. Import list. Okay. So we can import into tasks from a spreadsheet. So if you want to export from a current system, you can do that. Same sort of thing inside the CRM. So within the CRM, you do it in stages. So the CRM has companies and contacts, deals quotes, leads, deals quotes, and invoices. So you would generally import contacts first. Go into import contacts here. We click into import contacts, and it does actually give us a sample file here. So best thing to do is to download this sample file, populate it so it looks the same, and then you can import those. When you import then contacts and quotes and deals and the other into the other modules, just make sure you have a company column, and that will be your ID, and it will sync those to the company column. You can, as you go through the process, you can specify the uniqueness, I believe. So you can specify that you want the company to match, but also the telephone number and the email or something like that to match, so that your contacts will sync into the right company. If you're in an industry where you've got lots of companies have sort of similar names or exactly the same names, then you need to use those additional fields to make sure you're syncing them to the right contact. So it is a step-by-step approach, and it's very straightforward. Should work fine. If you need any help, contact yourself or a partner to do that, I guess. Do you have an email opening tracker? So depending where you're referring to, if we go into the CRM, let's go into this site. So we've got two sites open here. We've got a cloud site here, and we have a self-hosted version here. Just go into here because there's a bit more content in this one. The email opening tracker. So within the CRM contacts, there you can send emails from a contact like this. I can choose a template, and we can send that. That doesn't, as with, I guess, most email providers, doesn't have a tracker to say whether the email's been opened. I know there are some providers that do that sort of thing. That doesn't tell you whether the email's been opened. If you go into marketing, and it can show you this. If you go into marketing,
yeah,
then I think there is a tracker in there.
Yeah, if you go into the CRM marketing, and if you've sent out an email campaign, then we can actually go into the campaigns here and then look at the actual statistics of that particular campaign. So clicking on that, you'll be able to see how many people open it, and you'll be able to see how many people click on the links that are within this particular marketing campaign. So this is quite a useful tool, especially if you're going to be sending out a lot of different email campaigns. So if you're on the cloud, the beta version's available now. If you're on the self-hosted, it's going to be coming pretty soon.
Yep.
So we had a question as well come through just about the ability to export the Gantt chart on tasks to a PDF. So for quite a while now, we've been asked this a lot for Bitrix to be able to export the Gantt chart, and Bitrix have actually introduced it now. So if we go into the tasks section here, we just simply need to go into the Gantt chart, and you can see now that this icon is now appeared on the Gantt chart. So first of all, we can click out and zoom out so you can see whatever scale of view you want to be printing, and then we click on the print, and then again we can specify the dates and the size. Click on print, and there you go. You can see that the Gantt chart now prints. So we'd obviously recommend filtering out the chart, the tasks that you want to be able to print on the Gantt chart, and then you can print it. And obviously, if you don't want to print it on paper, there is an option on print to just print to PDF, so then you can save that on your local machine. So that's quite it's a relatively new feature on Bitrix, and it's definitely one that's been asked from us for quite a while now.
Yeah, I think if you go into records within the CRM, I think you can print these now, so you might not notice it, but down here is a print icon, so formats it quite well as well. So it removes the left-hand menu, removes the menu across the top, so instead of just printing page, it looks well formatted on there. So if you want to give this to your sales reps to take with them when they're on the road, of course they should be using the mobile app, not printing these off, but if they really want to print them off, then they can do that. But if you want to take this into a meeting, I guess, then that's pretty useful. If you want to have a meeting with Mark Moon, taking your summary of the recent activity, it's quite professional, I think. Yeah, I think so. You can print any contact, any record within the CRM. You can actually print tasks as well themselves. If I go into, let's go into a task. Same thing, printer icon down here, and again it should format it so that the header and the menu and everything is removed. So let's just have a look. Okay, so it prints the whole thing as well. So we've gone, it's not cut off. It's gone, prints the whole page or the whole record onto 2 pages. So again, useful if you want to send that into a meeting or something. If you want to take a laptop in, then you can do that. So that's a new feature.
So we had a question coming from on YouTube. Do any of the SMS integrations allow for two-way messaging? If not, what happens if someone responds to an SMS? So I'm not 100% sure with all the different variations of the SMS providers. So I know there is a few in here. So I think if we just type in SMS, I would probably recommend having a look at each of. I think we've used Plevo before, and there are a few others here. You can see there are quite a lot actually. I'd have a look at what types of integration. So you can see here that if you read through, there are quite a lot of features. I've not come across any that when somebody texts back, it would go back into the system. And it may do that.
Yeah, if we go into CRM and if we open up a lead in the CRM, just check if we can use SMS as a trigger, incoming email, incoming call. So it doesn't look that look like we have available an incoming text message as a trigger. So I'm guessing that standard text messages are not received back into the system. But not too sure on that. Have to probably test it. I'm trying to create a report which shows activity performed by users on each object, and I need to export that. So you want to see full activity of a user, I guess, page load by page load or something like that. Of course, I mean, there's lots of different ways you can report on user activity within the system. If you go on to start page, then I can see that if we go down here, workload by user over here, so I can see individual user messages and social media interactivity and forms that have been associated with them. I can see things like how many leads, contacts, deals, and companies somebody's working on, how many they've actioned, and how many actions they've got to complete down here. So that's an activity, and we can see sales activity as well, again by individual user. I'm guessing the question is maybe you want some sort of tracker on to see exactly where a user's maybe been in the system, so you can monitor them. This is,
I think, with regards to activity, if the user's going to be phoning the customers, sending emails and things like that, then you can actually see how many calls people are doing and items like that. So that's different activity within the CRM.
I think if you wanted, so this gives you good summaries of who's kind of most active, who's maybe not up to date on their work. That's on the sales side. In tasks, then we can see efficiency would be the sort of page to look at, I guess. Here we don't have a lot of data or any data in here, unfortunately. With this being a demo site, we've got one user generally, so we can't really see a sort of a lot of activity, but this would tell you which tasks are being worked on and which are not. I'm not too sure that does it user by user too much. I mean, you can see inside involvement, you can see who's involved in individual tasks. Oh yeah, we've got a filter on there. Let's go to all, so we can see.
I think we're in 2014. But I think the things that we're looking at here, they don't actually have an export in terms of being able to export to CSV. So the items that you may need to go down into are the actual report side of things. Create your own report in here, and then through these reports and the ones in the CRM as well, then you do have the option to export to CSV in there. So you would probably need to come up with your own reporting tools in each of the detailed report sections.
That would allow you to do so you'd be able to report on sales activity and particularly report on activity on tasks and things separately. If you wanted to see exactly where people have gone, you would need a self-hosted edition of Bitrix. This has an analytics package inside the control panel. If I go into visitor list inside here, and I get an actual list of, again, same visitor on this site, always the same visitor, but I get a list of the user. Last time they logged in, IP address they've come from, and I can drill down into the individual pages that users visited. So I can see actually date and time, and again IP address, and then I can see the list of pages that they've visited. So if it's in order to sort of monitor user activity, then self-hosted edition would allow you to do that. In fact, there's a lot of different reports, so I can view who's actually online now. So if you might want to see who's online in terms of your internal people, but if you use the extranet and your customers log in, you can see which of your customers are online. And then there's quite a lot of other reports or tools within here that allow you to view things like popular pages as well. So I can see this is the most popular page. If I drill down into that, I can then see which visitors last visited that page. So there's quite a lot you can do on that side with a self-hosted edition, but I think certainly need self-hosted to get that comprehensive user activity reporting.
So in deals, how do you handle if there is more than one contact attached to a deal? I do believe that's pretty straightforward. I think if you go into the deals, let's go into one that already exists on here, then if we let's have a look at, so we can just select an existing one. I'm not sure the name of the contacts in here. We've got another user. So that, I mean, you can assign multiple contacts to a deal as such like this, and then if you click on save, then you can see it's associated multiple contacts, and you can view them like this. And then you just need to go into the change view. So yeah, it's as simple as that really.
Okay, the question is tracking working on normal email yet? So no, I think we mentioned that there is no tracking on normal email. So I don't think if you're using Outlook or Gmail, there's any tracking on that side either. I think there are providers or apps that you can plug in, but no, there's no tracking on email as such. Only on marketing on the marketing side.
I think if we just go back to the SMS one that just says it's too bad that they don't come back. I think if you sign up for one of these, such as Plevo, then you do actually have an external login to Plevo, and you'll have a management account in there. I would recommend taking a look in the management side of it outside of Bitrix until Bitrix can publish incoming emails into Bitrix as well. So it may be, if you are going to be heavily involved in SMS marketing, is send them out of Bitrix with the connection, and then if Plevo or a similar one will allow them back in, it will go into your management area of that particular piece of software. So I would definitely double check that and sign up. I think you can sign up for free, and you can log in and take a look.
When converting leads to deals, contacts and companies, sometimes it does not generate a company. You're converting to a contacting company, deal contacting company, and doesn't generate a company. Well, yeah, it should do. If it's not doing that, then contact support. There's no reason why it shouldn't generate a company, provided you're requesting it generates a company.
Yeah, I think even though even if it doesn't have the information in a lead, it will ask you to provide the information that the company needs. So yeah, I think like Damien says, maybe get in touch with support to find out why that would be.
Okay, if I convert deal to quote, company and contacts are not getting connected to quote sometimes. Okay, so sometimes. So if I convert a deal to a quote, company and I don't know about that. I mean, if you're generating if you're converting a deal to a quote, the deal's converted to a company. The deal's associated with a company, then the quote will get associated to the company. If you want a self-hosted or a cloud, I don't know. If you want a self-hosted, we could take a look at it for you. Might be some settings that we can change. If you're on the cloud, then sounds like there's a problem with your system. Just double check that is the case, and then contact support, Bitrix support. Okay, you've got another question about contacts as well. I contact Bitrix support. Sounds like there's an error. I mean, on that question about multiple contacts getting associated, then that might be actually you're suggesting when you convert deal to a quote, then not all the contacts are getting linked to the new quote. That might be intended functionality, but you'd have to ask Bitrix whether that's the intended way. But it sounds like if you're on the first question, it sounds like you have a problem with the system. Just check it a couple of times so that you're converting it the right way, and then contact Bitrix support.
Just got a question about the marketing, including analytics. So if we just jump back into here, this is actually what the page we're on as well. So the only analytics, so once you've created your campaign and sent it out, then it will remain in your campaigns list here, and then you do have the statistics. So obviously we're in a demo site here, we've only sent it out to one individual. But when you click on statistics here, you have the ability to see those particular statistics. And then following on from that, we just had somebody ask on YouTube, incorporated the ability to include fields yet. So when you are creating them, I do believe that there is the ability to add fields in here. Let me have a look. So if we click into here, I guess we're going to need to know what these particular tags are. So I'd have to find out if we are going to be bringing that in, because at the moment obviously we've just got the name of the individual. Let me just check on here. Yeah, we'll find out and get in touch with you to see if they are going to be bringing that in. I would fully imagine that they are going to be bringing that in, because that's the whole point of the connection between the email marketing and Bitrix, and it is in beta version, so they are going to be introducing quite a few more new features into this.
Yeah, should we go through this? How we set this up? This is new, isn't it? Not available on the self-hosted, is it? But
no, so it's pretty straightforward. If we go into the segments, so if we click into the segments, and say for example if you've been using something very similar such as MailChimp, so the segments is, if you are using MailChimp, it's going to be the lists module. And basically what you are doing here is you are creating a segment of contacts that you are going to mail out to. So if I click on create segment here, then I can specify, if I specify in here, we can see client type. So say for example if we were to just only look at contacts in here, and then we can create filters to really dive down into segmenting your database in the CRM. So for example, what we would usually recommend is maybe contact type or contact source maybe. So say for example they've all come from your website, then what that would do is that would pull me a list of all contacts that have the contact source as website. So this reiterates the point that you should have quite a strong data management in your contacts in your companies, so you can split them up and segment them into whatever group that they are, and that will make it a lot easier when you are coming to the marketing side of things, because it's pulling all the data from the CRM, and in this case, like I say, we've got contact sources, website. If I was to say existing client, I'm not sure how much data we have in here. In that we have none. So you can see here it would come up with a list of users. So let's go into one that actually does have some. So we can see here we have client type as a contact, so it's pulled in all our contacts, and you can see from here, based on, because what you can do in Bitrix, obviously it's not just an email campaign you can do, you can also do an automated phone, you can do an SMS campaign. So it's good to know if you are targeting and splitting up and filtering these contacts, that what they have. So in this case we've got 4 contacts with 4 email addresses, 4 phone numbers and 4 names. So it just tells you in general how many there are in there. So once we've got that list and you filtered it down and called it whatever you wish, then we can actually start building up the campaign itself. So we go into the email campaign here, and Bitrix has at the moment quite a large range of different templates. It doesn't have the ability at the minute to code your own completely. There isn't a code your own section in here. That would hopefully be coming in the future. But if we were to select,
you'd be able to do that on the self-hosted.
Yeah, you would.
You customize this, I guess.
Yeah, you certainly would. Yeah, I mean, I was speaking to somebody yesterday, and probably really maybe the get around it is if we were to bring the code block into here and then remove the different elements, and what we could do maybe is click on the pencil icon and paste the internal code in, so you could actually code it up to be what you look to what it looks like. So you can see here, it's very easy drag and drop tools that we can drag in different images, different structures and different styles into this particular. So if I wanted to bring a framed image in, you can see how easy it is. Click on the pencil and then we can upload our own content into here. And then if we just scroll to the top and look at just the segments that we've been creating a moment ago, what we can do is we can select the segment that we are wanting to send this email to. So if I click on my segments, it's going to show me the ones that I've created. If I click on the contacts and email source, then I can send it to those. Maybe that you want to have a test segment, so you could send it to a range of different email inboxes. And then once you click on save, you can see here we can send them now, or we can schedule them in to be sent at a later date. So once it's been sent, and like we've come into here before, it will appear in the campaigns. You can see this is the one we've just created. We can actually send it from here if we wanted to. But once it's been sent, then this is where the statistics come back in. So it is quite a good case.
Mm-hmm. Okay, can you subscribe to tags in Bitrix so that you see everything associated with a certain tag? We do use tags in Bitrix. So I've just put up a message here on here, and we can then filter by these tags. So I can do a search, do a filter by tags. Let's just put.
You need to hit the tag.
Oh, don't know wrong one. Okay, that's why. Okay. Okay. So if I put a hashtag in, so okay. So if you use the tag box within the filter, it's not visible. Go to add fields and you can select it here. So this is the filter on the home page, and if we search, then it'll find any posts that have used that tag. So I think you could probably do the same thing within the CRM. I mean, if we went to stream, then if your users are, no, we can't do the same sort of search in the stream in the CRM. So yeah, so you can search that if and this will just search activity on projects and tasks, but also I guess if people are tagging documents and things like that, then you can do the same. Do we need a separate license to maintain backups and/or disaster recovery? So that would depend on whether you're using the cloud or the self-hosted. If you're using the cloud, then all your data is backed up for you, and as far as I know, there's not been any downtime at all in the last at least 2 or 3 years. There's not been any lost data at all. So but the data is all backed up for you. It's held on Amazon Web Services. Depending on where you are located, it it's held in your local region. So the question, do we need a separate license? The answer is no, not on the cloud. If you're using a self-hosted edition, then to maintain backups. So the first question about backups is, if you're using self-hosted edition, then you're in charge of your own backups. If you're hosting it yourself, you can back up within the control panel, or you can back up on the server itself, which would be kind of best thing to do. So you can create a backup here manually, or you can enable auto backups. So that would actually back up to the Bitrix server. You have a restriction on the amount of space that you have on that server, and it's not massive. So if you're a self-hosted user, you can do this if you're quite small, but I think it's probably about 10 gigabytes or 25 gigabytes or something like that. So it's not huge. But let's see if there's any settings in here about the space. Okay, not sure.
So I think the thing is that if you are going to be hosting your self-hosted, is that you are responsible for your own backups, whether that's on your server creating snapshots. If a partner hosts your self-hosted product, then they will manage your backups based on what's been agreed when you've taken out the system. So a partner will back it up for you and recover it if needed to.
Yeah, we included in our hosting package for self-hosted, we make 5 copies of your data, so we back up every day. We keep the 5 previous versions of your data, so it means we can roll back to not just the latest one, but to earlier ones as well. So yeah, you need to check that your provider is doing that for you. The second part of the question was about disaster recovery. So if you want to be able to get your system back up, if you have a problem with your server, then with the self-hosted, you get 2 licenses. You can use the second one as an extranet site, which generally most people do, or you can use it as a development area. I think you could use it as a second live site. I mean, you could certainly use the second license or the second instance that you get with that license. You could certainly use that as you could sync the data over to that. So you could have a second site running that's maybe not live on the internet. You could sync your data to that. That's not a standard configuration, but it's something we could set up for you. We do quite a lot of different configurations for different requirements. So yeah, you could certainly have a separate instance running that has a copy of your data. But I guess if you're doing backups, then provided you know the process to restore a backup, we for example could restore a backup from our server to a new instance. If there's a problem with any of the instances on our server, we could restore the backup within probably about an hour. So it's probably not a need should the sort of very rare eventuality of having some problem on your system. Probably not a need to have a sort of second system running if you can restore your site in an hour. So
we've got another question just with regards to finding a supervisor in a business process, just coming from YouTube. So there is an action block where you can actually specify the supervisor, and let's just go into our CRM and into settings, click on the automation tools, and then click onto business processes. And let's click on templates, and we'll have approved charges in here. We'll just go into one that already exists. And I just need to find the action block in here that provides it. So it is in here somewhere. So let me just check another. I think it's just select employee, I do believe. So yeah, so if you go into your other, so we've got this from the other section here, and you click on select employee, and then if you click on type, then you can click on supervisor, and what we can do in here for the user, and maybe it's going to be, if you click on element fields, which are the fields of the deal, we can actually say the supervisor of the responsible person. So what this will do is it will find the supervisor of the person who's responsible for the deal, because we're in a deal business process, and then you can see here it may be the person who's a supervisor in their department, or it may be that you can jump a level in your hierarchy of the company structure that you set. And if that user doesn't have a supervisor, then you can actually select a user on here. So it may be we're logged in as John Smith here. We can actually set it to a particular person. And this is an action block that's probably going to be more or less used quite a lot in the approval workflows. So if you're requesting leave, it's going to go to your supervisor, and then it can go to another supervisor for a double approval if you wanted to. But it's under the other section here on the right hand side, and then select employee.
Okay, there is any news about automation? Is there any news about automation on quotes? There is no. There's no plan to provide automation on quotes. If you're using self-hosted though, you'll be able to do that. So consider upgrading to self-hosted. There's not an automation feature on self-hosted, but you can do any type of automation at all on the self-hosted. So if you want to get in touch with the actual requirements you had, then we can tell you how that might work on self-hosted. Yeah,
I think just with regards to what is coming in Bitrix, Bitrix do have a 2018 roadmap webinar, and I believe that's on the 23rd of May. If you go to their website, you will be able to register for that particular webinar, and they're going to show you what's coming in the future, what's changing and what's being added. So we would recommend registering for that. It will show us what's coming.
Is there a limit to the amount of companies, contacts they can have on the CRM? I don't think there's any limit to that. So when you buy some CRM systems, they charge you by the number of records that you create. In Bitrix, there is no limit at all to that. So I just noticed down there we have a print screen button. So it looks like not only can you print tasks and actual individual records, but you can print lists like this as well. So there we go. So yeah, there's no limit at all on that.
So we have another question come through on YouTube that's just, I came across a feature that I was able to make a spreadsheet of sorts. So in your document drives, do believe that there is a feature to be able to create a new document. So this all depends on how you're working with your documents in Bitrix. So you can see if I go to my company drive here and clicking the cog icon on the top right hand corner, then we've got settings for working with documents. And how we work with documents is we use Google Drive for our documents, Google Docs, sorry. So we're working in the cloud. We've connected that up together with, integrated it with our profile. We'll click on new document, and then we can select spreadsheet there. So I think that's what you were referring to.
I think it might be lists. Sure, the feature of the product versus, but it could be another product, or it could be. You were saying that I came across a feature where I was able to make a spreadsheet of sorts from blank like to enter expenses. Could be that. Let's go into lists, and let's go into a work group and have a look inside there. And if we go into this list, so Bitrix has a feature called Lists. It sits on its own here. It also sits within a work group, and does allow you to create tables of data in a similar way to a spreadsheet. In that you can create different types of fields and show them in a structured manner like this. It then allows you to filter out that. So if I wanted to filter by just this, we've got this term agent, so I want to filter by John Smith, then I can go into agent, search for John Smith, and I'll just see that. And then also it's a multi-search, so if I start to type, then it's going to narrow down that search as well. So this does allow you to create tables of data very similar to a spreadsheet, and you can export to Microsoft Excel. So you cannot import into these, but you can export. In addition to that, it might be worth looking at this as a feature instead of spreadsheets, because you can run business processes from these lists. So if you're using it for expenses, then you might have a process in here that just requests approval for individual items. You can do things like attach files, in here. So and a user can add additional items to this. If we just go back to the lists, then the common uses of this will be things like expenses, but also inventory. So if you're if you want to keep a list of items used on a project inside a work group, you could use the list to create a table of inventory. But yeah, lots of different sort of functionality, but that was sort of similar functionality to a spreadsheet.
So I've got a question that's come in just with regards to hosting a Bitrix site on their own domain. So Bitrix has, if we go into our cloud version here, and again it's in beta, Bitrix has this new feature that you can build your own website, and you can also build landing pages, which are particularly good, especially with the CRM marketing side of things. And we're going to go into quite a bit of detail with regards to Bitrix sites in an up-and-coming webinar, and we're going to learn all about how we can create them. But with regards to your question, can we host these sites on your own domain? And you certainly can. So we would just we would create a new site and click on configure it. And then what we can do here is we can click on the pencil icon and then specify your own domain. So you can see here we've specified a subdomain, and all we've needed to do is go to where we registered our domain from and enter in a CNAME that's relevant to this particular site that we've created.
Okay, so you can create a subdomain of Bitrix24. I saw there. So
yeah,
if you want your own domain, then depends what people class as their own domain, I suppose. So you can add in, if it's available, I guess you can add in mycompany.bitrix24.sites. Yeah, if you're
exactly.
That,
yeah, it's completely up to you how you want it to look. Obviously, it's a little bit more personalised if you use your own domain, but by all means, Bitrix offer this particular version, so you can have it on Bitrix24.site if you wanted to.
Okay, and then they asked to say in the same question, how do I add a chat widget to my site? So we can do that, can't we? So you can add a chat widget to a site you built in Bitrix, so you can add that to your site that's been built on WordPress or any other site. Is there any additional integration? I don't think there is. Is there really as such if you're using Bitrix sites? It's the same, really, essentially.
Yeah, it's exactly the same. So the good thing about the site is that if you've activated your chat widget within the CRM, so we would just need to, let me just open up another tab here and then go back into the system. If you go into the, I believe it would be, in fact it's under the website widget at the top here, and then you can see we've activated on our standard website widgets, we've activated live chat, and we've also activated an inquiry form. And when we go to this particular one and preview it, for example, once it loads up, you'll be able to see in the bottom right hand corner that we have the chat widget enabled and also the inquiry form, so we can use those widgets. And the best thing about the sites is that it basically already comes integrated with your CRM, so it's particularly good. And again, we're going to go to this in a little bit more detail in the webinar, but the landing pages are fantastic to link your email marketing campaigns to be able to submit data to.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can create a website, but then you can also very, very easily create, any number of landing pages. If Andy mentioned, link that to analytics and your Google Analytics, and then really study the response to those different layouts. Yeah, we've got a question here. While performing duplicate control on an object, e.g. companies, do we have to check all the options, company name, email, ID, etc. at once or one at a time, and then update the list? So I guess you're referring to importing data or importing companies into the CRM. You're referring to duplicate control. So this is how we prevent a record from creating new when they already exist. So how we can sync those contacts that you're importing or companies that you're importing into the CRM and override the existing company, but not override a company, I guess, that's the wrong one. So you've got something called duplicate control, which allows you to choose some other parameters to check that really is the correct company. So you can choose company name, email address. I guess your question is about, do you check them all at once at a time? It's your choice about how many you check. If you only check company name and your customers use quite generic names, and you've got a lot of duplicates, companies with same names, then you're going to have problems. So you're going to need to check more than one. So you need to check company name and email address. I mean, if you're using ID, then that's perfect, because they're generally going to be all unique. You don't do one at a time. You would choose how many to check. If you can check all of 3 of them, if you're using on your spreadsheet, if you have the ID, and you don't have the ID if you've exported those companies previously from Bitrix, I guess. If you have the ID, then check ID. You'll have the company name, of course, so use that. But if you want to use email address, I think it's really quick. I don't know if we can view it without actually importing. Import companies. Okay, so we have to attach a file before we go to the next page, don't we? Have we got a file we can attach?
I think if we've got one on. Oh no, we don't. In fact, so I think what you would need to do. Sorry, I think if we just download it quickly, import companies. Click into company here, and now we can find I believe that's what it's just downloaded, and then I believe it's the comma. Now, I'm not sure what the delimiter is in terms of.
So it's going to match all these correctly because we've re-imported the same file, so there's no need to map them across manually. Okay, so your uniqueness control. Okay, so we have name, phone, and email address. So don't always have an email address associated with a company. Are we importing companies here? Don't always have an email address associated with a company, do you? So I guess if you can use name and phone, then you're going to be sure that that record's unique. So it's your choice. You need to tick one of them. Minimum name, but I would suggest name and phone.
Yeah, so you can replace the existing, like it says here, or merge, and that would update certain fields that maybe don't exist already in the company.
Okay, can I connect our VoIP handsets to Bitrix telephony? Will I be able to save recordings to a contact? So let's have a quick look in telephony. Let's go into let's start looking telephony here. So we should look across the top. Connection, I think. So the question is, can I connect my VoIP handset? So Bitrix has, in terms of telephony, there's 3 options. You can rent a number from Bitrix, and you can use that telephone number inside your Bitrix application to receive calls inside Bitrix to make outgoing calls. So with a headset or something, and use the inbuilt controls to allow you to route calls through to different people within your organisation. So that's the simplest way. You have to rent a number from Bitrix, around $6 a month, and then you pay per call on the numbers. In addition to that, you can plug in your VoIP handsets or SIP phones. So these will be phones that typically have a USB connector or something. You can plug those into your PC, and it would allow you then to receive calls on a desktop phone, but using the Bitrix telephony. So I think in answer to your question, if your handset is a VoIP handset or referred to as a SIP phone or even a USB phone, then that phone will work with Bitrix. It won't require any integration as such. That phone will work with Bitrix pretty much out of the box, so it's quite straightforward. The other option is to connect a phone system to Bitrix. So if you have a physical phone system you're operating within your business, or a virtual phone system that you're using, you can connect those PBX systems, and if I click in here, then we can see that there's some built-in apps that allow you to do this. If the app's not available for your phone system, then you can do this through a custom API integration. I'm not too sure whether you can do that on the cloud or just the self-hosted. Generally, the API is limited on the cloud, so I think you might need a self-hosted to do that custom integration. A warning: the custom integration through the API will cost you a considerable amount of money, probably in excess of $10,000 to develop. So it's quite a complex process. So what you need to do is try and hopefully you've got a system that you're using that has an app available. If not, then choose a phone system like Free PBX, which works very well with Bitrix. If you have Free PBX, then we can connect you for around $500, get your system all up and running, so you can take calls through your current phone system and current phone hardware that you're using at your desks. Would allow you also to use the additional functionality that exists in Bitrix. So if you can't currently do call queues, if you can't currently route calls, well, I guess you can, but if you can't do sort of call on hold messages, record messages and things like that, if you can't do IVR and things like that, then you with your current system, when you integrate with Bitrix, you've got all that additional functionality that you can then use, whilst maintaining, the operators on their current handsets. So there's different options. I think get in touch with us. We do a lot of projects on telephony now, so we're doing a webinar soon on telephony as well, just on telephony, so probably in the next 3 or 4 weeks. But the second question, would it say recordings to a contact? Yeah, so if you're using a Bitrix rented number, if you're using a SIP phone that you plug in, or with PBX connection, then it will record telephone calls to a contact. Let's see if we've got anything in here. I'm sure we have. But anyway, your contacts telephone conversations will record and log into your activity stream. So in Bitrix, you can record. You can sync all emails, so incoming emails that you're sending or receiving from your email provider, if that's the external email provider, you can sync those sent and received emails to the relevant contact. But in addition to that, telephone calls can be recorded, so incoming and outgoing calls will be recording and saved to the correct contact within the system.
Yeah, so you can see here that we're in the telephony module here, and you can see all the calls that have been made, incoming and outgoing. We can create a filter up at the top here, and then we haven't got it set to record on some of ours, but you can view the recordings. So it's really good if you wanted to see all the calls that were made by a particular user, for example. You could use the filter here and then show the recording on there. So we've got a question, is there a way to totally remove the hidden menu in self-hosted? It's a little bit of custom work that would be required. We have done it for clients before. We've only shown the hidden section to administrators, for example, and all the other users don't see the hidden section. So it is possible. Probably I'd recommend just dropping us an email if you want that sort of work done.
Yeah, I wish the mobile phone app integration was better. It pops up as a Bitrix notification, then rings, but too much delay and hassle grabbing the call. Okay. I think there's an update on the mobile phone app on the mobile app, so it's been released recently. So there's some changes to the user interface. So it might be worth getting that update. Might work better for you. But notifications pop up. There's too much delay. I'm not too sure what you mean by that.
I think if it's not working the way that you think it should work, again, I think the point is it should be. I think you should just drop a support message to Bitrix, and they'll be able to tell you if there's anything wrong on your system. I think you said you're on a cloud version, but yeah, the best thing to do is to contact Bitrix if it's not working the way you think it's working. Okay, I think we've come to the end of the session. We've got our contact details in here, so if you want to get in touch with us, best thing to do is contact us on one of the telephone numbers provided on the screen here. We do this session every Thursday at 10 AM Eastern Time, so we're here every week. If you've got any questions, obviously while we're not in the time between each session, please just drop us an email. We're more than happy to answer those for you, or we can move them on to next Thursday's session. We can answer them there for you as well. So we offer demonstrations of Bitrix. We offer trial versions of the self-hosted of Bitrix. We also host the self-hosted as well here. So if you're thinking about it and you want those features but you don't want to host it yourselves, that's something that we can offer. And I think the best thing to do is get in touch with us, and we're more than happy to discuss any of your requirements, really.
Yeah, okay, thanks. If you register for our webinars on interface.com/webinars, but for YouTube you don't need to register. We'll be here same time next week.
So just got a question, what is your email? So you can either email myself, it's Andy, ANDY @interface.com, or Damien. DAMIAN @interface.com, or through to sales. But yeah, get in touch with any further questions. Okay, thanks very much. Bye for now.